then it's like, oh, we're not compatible then.
Right.
Because if a lot of people can delude themselves into staying into a relationship just for the sex, if the sex ain't even good, then why are you there?
Right.
Yeah, so like I was saying, you put all this pressure on another person to all of a sudden become your for lack of a better term, become your sexual fantasy in over the course of, I guess, a wedding night. Like, just one day, hey, this is everything I like. Good luck to you. Let's go. Like, how is that? One, it's horrible for the other person, but two, it's horrible for you because now, like, I'm not even going to put that on another person.
Right.
Because one, that's an unrealistic expectation. Like, let's just be all the way 100 about that. That's an unrealistic expectation to put on somebody that, hey, you have to become every single one of my sexual fantasies in a night, and we've never had sex before.
So let me ask you this, Jay. I'm glad you brought that up. So you're saying that, because in the beginning, when you're dating someone, it's new. It's like buying a new car. Mm-hmm. You drive off the lot, you put a lot of miles on it.
Not a fan of the analogy, but I get
no, right? No, I'm saying no. Okay, all right. I'm sorry. For our listeners out there, I'm not comparing sex to a Ferrari. I'm sorry. Okay, let me explain a little better. You as a man, don't do that. Don't.
I'm genuinely waiting for you to say it. I'm just.
So okay. As you know, as a man, when you're talking to a lady you never talked to before, fresh face, new person, different from what you're seeing. There's an attraction level there. Mm-hmm. Hey, I've never spoken to this person. She's bringing something refreshed in my life. It's new. It's exciting. And we've preached on this podcast. Okay, 3 months in, still exciting. 6 months in, maybe less exciting. When you get to that year, and we've always talked about on this podcast, after that year point, it's a true test. Mm-hmm. It's a true test. And that was one of the first, matter of fact, that was one of the very first episodes we filmed. After that year, that's a true test of a relationship. Mm-hmm. When you are around this person, you're doing the same things, and this is where you've got to be able to separate the two, mm-hmm. as far as, all right, what do I have outside of having sex with this person every night? Can I talk to this person? Can I be vulnerable with this person? Can I share my secrets with this person? So what are your thoughts on that, Jay, as far as, because I think what you're saying is there's going to come a time where it's like, all right, there comes a time where, like, all right, we've been dating for X amount of time. This could be holding back somebody from making a serious commitment like marriage, mm-hmm. or like, or maybe on the borderline of like breaking things off. So what do you say? And you can even interject to that too, Mr. Jannie B.
So for me personally, I think that goes back to like having realistic expectations for the other person. Mm-hmm. Like, and I know we don't really like the word too much, but like, if you're being realistic about what you actually want and what you can actually, like, what that person can actually provide, mm-hmm. then you're not going to do something like, oh, hey, you're a virgin, but I all of a sudden want you to understand all of the Kama Sutra and fulfill that desire for me. That's because if you're being honest with yourself and with the other person, that's not realistic.
Yes.
Versus, hey, we've tried a couple different things during our sexual encounters. I would like to get a little bit more adventurous. Are you okay with this? Because this is going to be at least for me, this is a part of our relationship that holds a specific amount of weight.
Yeah.
Instead of, you haven't said word one about what you want sexually in the relationship. And then all of a sudden a year in, you're like, so here's my Pornhub history. Get familiar. We doing this tonight.
Well, you do understand a lot of men aren't doing that.
I know, but I'm being hyperbolic on purpose. But that's essentially what we're doing when we say, oh, hey, I've been dealing with women with this level of experience for a long time, and you are a virgin. Get on my level. That's basically what you're doing.
So you're saying that's unrealistic?
It's not realistic, no.
So okay, all right, that's a good point. So what would you do in that situation?
In that situation, it's like, hey, I know, like, you are. This is a difficult conversation. I'm not going to pretend that it's something that you just jump in and it's like, hey, this is. But it's like, hey, I would like to start getting a little bit more adventurous with our sexual encounters.
Right.
Like, how do you feel about oral? How do you feel about if that's your thing? Anal? How do you feel about intercourse? How do you feel about what's it called? Manual stimulation, like all this stuff. And then on top of that, half the time we talk a big game, but most dudes don't know nothing about sex themselves. They just know I stick my situation here and move until it feels good, and then we do. That's about it.
Very true.
We can't. I'm not going to put. This is me personally. I'm not going to talk to what other people are doing. I'm not going to talk to what you do, Phil. But for me personally, if I know what feels good for me, so I will speak to what feels good for me. And if it doesn't feel good for me, I will let you know that. If I want to try more, I will let you know that. If I'm not comfortable with something we try, I will let you know that. If we are not compatible in those ways, then that lets me know, hey, this is an aspect of our relationship that if all of the other stuff is good, then that tells me we need to work on this. Or if the other aspects of our relationship aren't good, then it's like, oh, we're not compatible then.
Right.
Because if a lot of people can delude themselves into staying into a relationship just for the sex, if the sex ain't even good, then why are you there?
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
And Miss Jannie, I'd love to hear your thoughts as well.
That also is like, you have a sexual standard. That's a part of people's standards. And that's why we must make our own list, or mental, physical list, however you make it, of standards, and not going by this cookie cutter list. Because what works for one person doesn't work for someone else. And this, I'm sure this, just this area about this whole area with dealing with sex and sexual compatibility, it's carrying over to other parts of the relationship. Yep. Because if he's not feeling fulfilled, she's not feeling like she can fulfill him, and they obviously didn't even talk about this ahead of time, this is a disaster waiting to happen.
Yep.
It's like a train wreck, a slow one. and because if you're not feeling fulfilled, that's a problem right there. And you didn't even recognize that. You never verbally let the person know, really, or send them any message that this is a standard for you. And so you got to give them an opportunity to know, is this something I can even be a part of? And that's the point of having your standards too, is to make sure, are they cool with it? You know what I'm saying? Like, because if they're not cool with it, then I got to put my boundary up, and you're not the one. But exactly. That you make a great point, Jay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Excellent.
But I have a follow-up question to that, and this might go into a slightly different direction.
Okay.
But So we were just talking about how, you know, if you're not getting that out of a relationship, if you're not getting sex out of a relationship, but you're getting other things, you know, then that might just be something you need to work on. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on I don't know what the 5-person team, so to speak. So like the woman who and the man who has a roster, or who is like, okay, from this person I get sex, from this person I get conversation, from this person I get a handyman, whatever the case may be. Like, what are your thoughts on, like, okay, if I know I'm not going to get this from this person, that I'm going to have different people who I go to things for, or even a polyamorous relationship at that point?
I think polyamory is very interesting, and I would like to learn more about that. Like at first I used to be like, but now I don't have like these hardcore rigid views anymore. I think the level of honesty it must take, the level, like just like this ability to be able to communicate and not see people as someone that you own or that you possess, but that I'm somebody that there are people who do not want to be with somebody all the time. Mm-hmm. And others who are very codependent and think like, no, we're made to always be around. They don't understand it. I kind of understand a bit how it is to want someone for just want them for a few days around you, and you need to recharge and have your space. And then